I guess I don't know what this is, but it's one of those things where the reason I wanted to do a podcast is because there was a point where I started to think too much before I sleep. Like right now, I'm just thinking, and it's been hard sleeping because of all these things I'm dealing with, and so right now it became so bad that my brain started to burn because I was starting to think so much and I couldn't sleep. So it's essentially why I started doing this, and I guess one of the I'm gonna like I guess this kind of goes into me having like I guess depression. I always had depression. I don't because I don't know, but I'm thinking right, and I guess this is like a train of events that I'm finding like we call it like it's starting to be overwhelming. And like I guess it's been there, but I guess it just started to pile up. And it was like one day I remember it's just this week on Wednesday or Tuesday. I would think it's a Wednesday. Either way, Tuesday I woke up and like at 10:30 p.m. I wanted to go to the store to get something to drink, like soda, and I don't drink. I don't do no drugs. I don't do none of that. I've been straight edge my whole life. Other than doing a hot box when I was like 11 or 12 on New Year's, sips of beer, like 20 sips of beer, which I'm told that doesn't count. And a hookah. Other than that, the week. So I just went. I don't know why I had to explain that, but I had to. I want to go get drink, and at 10:20, 10:30, I don't know what time, but as soon as I go into the car, I turn it on. Battery's dead. I'm like, fuck. Thankfully, it was my day off, but the nearest auto store was gonna close at 11, and it's a 20-minute walk, depending like 20-30 minute walk and stuff like that. So I wasn't going to do it because I could have the door, they would have been already closed when I got there, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do when I wake up. No, not when I'm already awake. I work graveyard, so I'm already awake. So I'm going to be awake throughout the day until 7. I went there, got to AutoZone at 7. Was going to buy a jump start, but they told me no. They're like, no, they didn't tell me no. They said, bring your battery in and we'll charge it for free, and then you'll see if it's a problem or not, if you need a new one or not. I'm like, in my head, I was already gonna buy a jump starter just in case, but they talked me out of it. I'm like, okay, fine, I will not. I would do that. In hindsight, that was so. I could have. This goes to something. Because I was trying to get everything done before I was able to go to Muay Thai, which is like at 9, and if I just bought the jump starter right there, I would have able to make my class, which I wasn't able to. But as I'm walking back and stuff like that, I'm like, oh fuck. And then honestly, I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm out of here. I'm committed, so I gotta go get the battery. And I got the battery. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have the tools for it. And then I had to walk back, and this time I decided to buy the battery, the jump start, but also the tools for me to what do you call it? Jump start the car, boom, go to rallies, and got my thing done at like at 10. And I was thinking, I said, this is things. I'm afraid to say what I was thinking about the whole time. I'm like walking back and forth, but I think you have an idea. I'm like, I'm thinking about that, and it's weighing on my head. I'm like, it's been weighing on my head because there's other things. I'm like, I'm learning how to fight, and I'm like, oh man, I could have been this, and I'm thinking about them, like, oh man, I could have been a bit this, and and then I'm like walking, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm I don't want to say it, but it's like I'm weak. I'm just either way. I got it done. Like my coach my my coach said you're slacking, and he only said that because I've been like every day since I joined the gym, the Muay Thai gym, every day except for one day, but every day I've been there. No, except only 2 times I wasn't there, but it was because they had later classes, and I don't do later classes because I sleep during that time, and I wasn't gonna mess up my sleep schedule for 2 days. But they essentially made up on having 2 days on an extra day on Sunday, which whatever. But he said that he was just joking, but it was like after that I told him like, my shit got we got whatever. Next day, this is okay. So Thursday. Yesterday was Friday. So I came in Thursday, and today is Saturday. Yeah. See, I'm kind of confused right now. This is what it is. So Thursday came. I went to work. No, today's Sunday. Okay, yeah. I think. Either way, Thursday I came. I think it was Friday. Yesterday was Friday. Yesterday was Saturday. Going to Sunday. Okay, it was Friday. Thursday I came, and there's this thing that Thursday I came. It's like one of those things where like I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. And this is Thursday. For me, that thing, Muay Thai, not only because I'm learning how to fight and I'm working now, and it hasn't made me skinny. It's gotten me lean, not skinny, because if I were to stop eating like shit, I would be a lot skinnier and stuff like that. But yeah, like I've been bouncing at around 177, 180. And I'm like, I'll be 1 week 177, 1 week 176, 1 week 179, 1 week 180. So I'm constantly bouncing around. If I ate fucking good, I would be skinny. The only thing I'm doing, thing is happening is I'm getting lean. I think one of my managers, she looked at me. She's like, "You look skinny." I'm like, "Yeah." I guess because of that. And also, okay. So that's where I'm gonna be at. Okay, so we're at Thursday, but I'm gonna go back because it evolves that too. I won't be exactly specific because that's how I'm embarrassed to say it, but the day I was on Saturday, right? I was like a lot positive, boom, 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 a lot of positive, a lot of positive things. When I was walking, I got the positive. I guess it's hard to say while saying it. It's like I don't, because there's this thing where I hear a lot of blaming, and I think I think it's because people are, I don't want to say pathetic, but because I am pathetic, but I don't want to difference. I don't blame recall, but it was one of those things where boom, I'm like. I get this, like, hey, Oh, sorry. I get this. Hey, positive thing. The positive constantly being there. Positive thing constantly reaffirming me. I should try, and I'm like, but so I'm too much of a bitch to try, and and that day and then after that I'm happy, but also I'm like fucking pissed at myself because I'm like, there's signs and the signs are giving me everything to say go for it, and I'm not, and that's eating me alive because there's so many opportunities, and it's like fucking do something, you fucking bitch, and I don't because I'm a fucking bitch. And and so I'm not happy about the day, but I'm like happy because I'm like, oh, I got the reaffirmation, I got positivity, but it's like, yo, fucking bitch though, and then my, I was boxing and we were Muay Thai Saturday, Muay Thai. And Saturdays are hell days for me. I mean, not only are we doing the class after, we get like open gym, and sometimes I go against the fighters, and sometimes I go against the coaches, and it's like if you don't know, there's a difference. There's a difference between a fighter, and advanced, and intermediate, and a beginner. I'm a beginner, and these people who are fighters or advanced, they are half-assing it with the beginners. They are half-assing it because if they were really real, the ass whooping would be brutal because their toolbox is, depending on who it is, their toolbox is far greater than a beginner. They know all these fucking moves, and if they were going really serious, so those days are like, because the only thing that could save you with a fighter or advanced person is how quick you are to respond. That's the only thing that saves you, because these people they don't even try, and they're half-assing it, and they're kicking your ass half-assing it. But when they go serious, it's they haven't, and I'm so thankful for that because fuck, I don't want to do it. But either way, so scary. This day particularly was one of those dog days. I had to go against my coach, and and there's this thing I was always making. I think at first I'm like, when it happened, I'm like, I'm gonna look hot at work. I guess I just gave it up. Well, I'm afraid to admit, but anyway, I'm like, I'm gonna look hot at work because my coach, fuck man, rocked my. I don't, because everything he did, it fucking hurt, and the only reason we like, because the advanced person was watching the coach and me sparring, and he said the coach was loading up, and I'm like, yeah, I mean that all those punches kind of hurt. And he punched me in the eye, and I got a black eye, and I'm like, I'm gonna look. I think I just gave it up, but I'm gonna look hard. I said that like two times. I'm gonna look hard at work, and either way, I think I shouldn't have said that, but either way, it's gonna be whatever. Anyways, I was like, he also said something that bothered me, which I think I gotta give it away. But he said, "You're too afraid to take risks," and that's like fuck. That bothered me, and it was one of those things that it compassed that day because it was like, you're too scared to take risk, and before I was working, then also I went to the gym, then I went to Muay Thai, and he said that like there was opportunities that told me to take that risk, and I never did. And at the end of the day, at the end of my day, he says that because at one because he was at one something, and I usually go to bed like at 2, 3, 4. Should be going to bed right now, but I just I'm fucking losing I'm overthinking and shit like this. 5:07, and I should be going to bed, but I'm constantly thinking. So I decided to do this recall. Anyways, that's the end of my day. It fit the day so perfectly. It got me so mad because it was like, he's right. You're too afraid to take risks. If you took risk, it's like it's not even about the recall. It was about in general. And if I took those risks, man, it's like this thing wouldn't be weighing heavily on me. And then I go back because Sundays they're off. So Monday, Tuesday, and I think Wednesday's the one that I was gonna go, but I couldn't because of the dead battery. Then Thursday, Friday. Friday is this Friday, but Monday, Tuesday, they're like, I think it was no, it's I think we had a whole week. Oh no, we had a whole week, but the whole week, I was bothered. I'm like, I was like, I don't get. I think I just gave it away, but I'm embarrassed to say. The whole day, I'm like, when I came into the gym, I was like, I thought I was joking, but I was kind of serious. I was joking, but I was kind of serious. I'm like, I was kind of hoping this would happen, but it didn't happen, and I felt like an asshole because it looked like I just looked like I got beat up, and I'm not that person. I'm like, even though like at the gym, I'm not like outgoing or what. I'm more open than I am in outside because I think I'm more comfortable with these people at the gym and stuff like that. And I was just upset by that. I'm like, whatever. And I carried on. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday passed. Then finally, the Wednesday came where I got my thing. Thursday, I came to the gym, and it was like, it was the first day I didn't want to be there, and I'm gonna explain. Like that's the first time I didn't want to. There's days I don't want to be there. I'm like fucking hating every day. It's just because I'm exhausted. I don't want to fucking do it. But when I go there, and it's like, it's good to see them. The people I go to the gym, they're just, there's people. I just like, it's just no matter what it brings up, no matter how much I fucking hate the day. When I go there, and no matter how much I'm being, like doing exercise, I just feel, at the end of it, I feel happy because these people are, whatever. And it's just that day, I think it was Thursday, after the dead battery, you need to sleep. I've been fucking up my sleep, and it's been bad, and it's so bad that when I came back after the Wednesday, I came on Thursday. My legs were so fucking heavy, and I was like, how is that fucking possible? I just missed one day. Why my legs are that fucking heavy? It's because I'm not sleeping well, and it's I'm gonna tell you right now, that's how important sleep is. If you're not doing that, how much it fucks up your abilities in anything. So sleeping, I went 5 hours. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a horrible sleep, and I have to go to work today. I caught off because I'm like, which leads to Friday, because it's kind of weird because it goes Friday to Saturday, and okay, so Friday, basically, more or less, it's gonna be about more or less of a. I was that Friday. I went to the gym and same thing. And I guess there's this thing that happened. That I didn't realize I really like, and that's helping people. I don't know if that's actually really me liking it, but this goes into Saturday. But I just remember some guy was no Friday, either way. No, Friday was weird because it was like it was like I came back, and I'm like, I didn't want to be there. Then at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy because, all these guys. I don't know. I just more or less, I just felt, I don't know. But either way, it's like, yes, I got to do, I got to, do all that other shit. But it was like, I don't know. There's a point where like I didn't want to be there. I'm like, okay, I'm happy I came in today, and it's like I understand how important. Not only is it just to learn how to fight, but just to be recall, and then Saturday happens. Friday going to Saturday, because I didn't go in on Saturday. So Friday going to Saturday. Well, not the happiest, but I'm not bothered. But I was like, woke up, and I work the poker area at my company, and I'm gonna pause it because it's that 21 minutes. Yeah, the camera shuts off at 30, and I want to stop it right there before I go into the other things. So I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna come back. Okay, so now it's Saturday. Friday going to Saturday. Not too happy with the waking up and just not feeling good. Whatever. Got to work. Boom boom. And I work the poker area, and I had to sweep the floors and stuff like that. And usually, like this. Okay, I'm gonna say, there's this one chick. She's a supervisor, and I have this huge crush on her. And and when I sweep the floor, because I don't take the tips. And when I find chips on the floor, I give it to Rico. And usually, I would like to give it to her because I have a crush on her and all that stuff. But usually, I never, either she's not working that day or she's whatever. She's not working that day or she's not working that day, or there's no chips, and usually there's no chips because, they usually clean, the chip runners usually clean up the area and usually they get the chips. Either way, I pray for it, but every time I pray for a fucking empty table, there's a chance there's a chip. It never happens. It happens rarely, but it rarely happens when I recall. One of those, and so I'm like taking out the trash after I'm done whatever I'm doing. I'm like taking out the trash and I see it. I see a fucking chip, empty table, chip. Grab it, walked up to the recall, gave it to her, ran away because I'm fucking terrified of this woman. And I'm like, look, instead of like, hey, here's this chip, whatever, right? But I was like, I dropped it. She knew it was for her, and I'm like, I bounced this recall. I found a little happiness there, right? And so this one, as I said, this goes into. I was gonna say Friday was a thing, but Friday was kind of a thing because there was it was actually a Thursday because it was when I fucking hated the day, and I was like, I want. There were I wanted. There was this guy. He had a bottle of water, and because I don't know why, I feel like the urge when I felt so fucking like, I want to negate that by doing something. And I just looked at this bottle of water, and I had like electrolytes inside my backpack, and I wanted to put an electrolyte right into his shoe, but I was scared because this guy's. I don't want to, he's like, I could put it in his shoe and he'll take it as a, like, he wouldn't, he'd be like, yeah, yo, thank you. But I just got too scared. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Because that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's me wanting to be helpful or just me trying to offset the depression. And maybe if I do something good, maybe it'll help me offset it. So I'm not sure if it's me wanting, like, no, I think it might be more of that. But this goes into what Friday going to Saturday. It kind of that deadline and another deadline I just mentioned, and not only that, there's another deadline. But okay, so I'm happy. I'm a little happy. I found a little happiness. They're like, oh, she might, she noticed me. Stupid shit. And as soon as I'm done taking the trash, I'm walking. Because I had to walk past the podium to throw out the trash, and I'm like, I'm fucking terrified. So I'm straight for it, looking straight for it. Try not to even give her a look, because I'm fucking terrified of this woman. Right there, I see some guy fucking gone. He's gone. His eyes are like up in the sky, and to me that looked like vertigo. He's obviously drunk, but I'm like, it looked like his equilibrium is out of fucking whack. And I had vertigo before, and I had vertigo for a while, for like I think a week or two, and I tell you, that is not fun. And that's the other thing I'm kind of like scared about, because I recently bought this thing for your neck, iron neck, and it helps thicken your neck and make your neck strong. I did this thing, a figure 8 thing on it, and I was dizzy and dizzy where like it became an issue because I had to do Muay Thai, because I did that before Muay Thai, and I went there. I'm like, yeah, that's not. This is, if they ask me to do a spinning kick or do a fucking elbow backwards, there's a chance I might just fall. And the funny thing is, on those days, there's like the days preceding that, I fucking got. We were sparring and like doing light sparring. It's like a weird sparring, and it's something like that. Either way, I got this guy. He was circling. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's. I'm trying to not fucking go into a fucking spinning fucking frenzy, tizzy, and this guy just fucking walking like in circles. I'm like, dude, you out. And for me, I'm like, after we were done with sparring, because like 2 minutes, I'm like, dude, you almost fucking you almost got me. He's like, you doing that circle shit, you almost got me, dude. I forgot what he had to say, so something like that. Then the next day, we were going with the crew, one of the coaches, the crew, and he was doing this thing where I'm like, is this shit sometimes I think the universe is speaking to me, but I'm like, was this shit intentional? Because you're not supposed to give your back, but in some cases it happens. And he was trying, like, because we were doing a kick, and then he was showing us how to get out of it. But he's like doing a whole overlead kick, and he's like, okay, he's like that, and I'm doing it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I can't keep doing it. I can't keep and I'm doing it half-assed, because if I did it like he was doing it, that shit would have been quicker. I would have got quicker. And then there's this recent one. I'm like, that one was kind of scary because it was quicker than usual, because it was like I was doing pads with this guy. He's an advanced. He's the fighter. He's a fighter, and he's like he wanted me to do this cool thing that we don't know. I don't know. None of the beginners they might know, but it's like rare. We don't really do that thing where we like spin and use our elbows from the spin. And I did it once, and as soon as I landed it on the pad, I was like in the dizziness, and he hits me because he wants me to keep my arms. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, fuck. Luckily he only did it once, but when I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die here because he's gonna hit me, and I'm dizzy, and I'm like, oh. Anyway, I'm like, okay. So that's why when I look, I'm like, oh shit, he's not. When I had, this is before, okay, but I was like, I'm scared to use the iron leg. That's how scared I am, because I'm like, when I bought it, I'm like, then I started doing it, and I did that one thing. When I haven't touched it since, because I'm scared of the vertigo shit. And I just remember, one time that time I had vertigo for a week, and it was like the third week where it's starting to subside. I looked, because I didn't, it was there like tiny bits. You could feel the fate of it there, but it wasn't like bothersome. I could recall, and I looked down to look under the basket, because I used to work at Walmart. I looked under the basket, and when I looked up, I was like looking up at the ceiling and at the basket, and I fucking fall backwards, and I hit the ice machine because the fucking vertical was still there. So I'm like, I know what this fucking guy's going. He's even though the reason he's like going recon is because he's drunk, but I know he's fucking not having a good time. And this guy was like, his boy was, I don't know, that shit annoying me because his boy seemed like he wasn't trying to grab him. It seemed like his boy wanted him to eat shit the whole time. And I'm like, okay, I gotta help because I'm like, he grabs him because he falls, and his boy's right there grabbing him, picking him up. And I'm like, hey, you need help? He's like, like, I got him. And then he's like carrying him, but he's like half-assing it, and the dude drops again. And I push my cart, hits the wall, and I'm like, dude, he grabs me, he's like, no, we're good. I'm like, dude, it's like you're like, okay, you mean call security? Like, no. He's like, okay, whatever. And he fucking lets him drop again. And I'm like, dude, you need to fucking hold him. Like, dude, dude, you need to hold him. And I grabbed him. He helped me with him. We set him down, so like that and whatever, right? After that, I go to I told him the call security. He's like, no, okay, whatever. But I put the seat because his guy, I don't know what his guy was doing. I think he was either drunk or he didn't give a fuck about his boy. Either way, go in my bathroom. I'm cleaning. Didn't realize this guy's in my bathroom again. It didn't realize he was in my bathroom, and all I remember, I was cleaning the counter, and I see in the mirror some dude falling backwards, and I look back and I see it was him, and I hurried up and grabbed him before he fell on his ass, and I just basically helped him helped him out, carry him out to the door, to the entryway, and his boy's right there, and as soon as he sees his boy, he lets me go and he walks towards him, and I'm like, what does security say to you, dude? And I was like, yeah, they say he's fine. I'm like, whatever. Ultimately, security can't do shit. They could provide recall, but if he's resisting any help, they can't force it on the guy, other than making sure this guy don't bust his ass. Whatever. I think I helped him sit down or something like that. Either way, he comes back again, but this time his boy's there. But he pukes all on the floor, which is fine because I had to clean it. It's not fine, but whatever, it's what it is. It just I was sitting down when all of a sudden I heard him bust his ass again, and this guy's like, I'm like, dude, you need to fucking hold your guy. He's like, it's like, what are you doing? I told him you need to fucking hold your guy, and he's like, oh yeah. And then we carried him out to the table. We sat him down. He's going to eat again. He comes back, throws up again, and his guy's helping him, but I was like, I don't trust this fucking guy because I think he's gonna let him fall again. So we just walk out, and I took him to the parking lot, and then that's it. But I think that's the one thing I was like, even though it was a bad situation, and it's like it could have been avoided if he didn't drink. But also told me something else that I'm like, I kind of want to, because it's like not necessarily what I mentioned, but it's kind of embarrassing because it's like, how's this person who seems he has it? Because I assume if you're having that much of a drinking problem, that means there's something deeper. And how is this guy recall? And I'm not drinking my ass off. Why am I not fucking like wasted as this guy? And it's just more or less putting things into perspective and stuff like that. So what is it? My outlet, poetry is my outlet. The things I do, is that how I deal with it and shit like that? Whatever. Walking away, going back to my recall, and some other drunk person. The guy says, "Hey, there's a drunk guy in the water, in the waterfall." I'm like, fuck, gotta check it because I can't, recall. See him, his eyes are open. He's fucking gone. He's drunk, but his head's like half his body is on the waterfall inside the waterfall fountain, and others outside. And I was like, Okay, called security. Security. Oh my god, they took their fucking. They never came. Either way, they. Oh my god, I was like, ugh. It's a weird. It was a weird fucking day because the fact that there was that much drunk people that had to deal with. I've worked there for at least I think a close to a year at that area. How rare that was. That's how rare it has happened in my area. So it's like we call it, and so this guy's fucking like we call. I'm talking to him, say, hey, what's up, guy? Let's get you going. Let's get you up and let's sit you down this bird and stuff like that. He says some shit. This is the good side of drunk and this is the bad side of drunk. The good side of the drunk is that guy was when I was helping that guy, he kept saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I said thank you, man, but he's drunk. You know, so he said thank you, man. This guy, he was a little different. I don't think he was as plastered as the other guy, but also he said something. I'm like, I think this is. He's on the floor. He's like he's half body's the fountain, the other body's outside. I'm like, hey, let's get you up. Let's make sure you're not drowning, shit like that. He's drunk. He's like, you think that shit's weird if I tell you your company, is murderers? They have murderers and have sexual assaults and affairs and all that. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, not really. Because there's two things I'm like, obviously, like sexual assault or SA or well, I can say sexual assault. Like this is the thing where I'm like, I wasn't like this is like way back. Like I think I'm like 7 months ago, if not last year. I'm in my closet and I'm these two guys taking piss in the urinal and I'm in the closet and they obviously don't know I'm there. They're like. Because the way the poker room is, there's tables everywhere, so it's very close. So you sometimes you have to shimmy through shit, and basically they're like the cocktail waitress is like basically they're like they said they were grabbing them in the butts. And they were, how you say, letting them rub against their peepees, and it's like sometimes you can't avoid it, but sometimes it is one of those, like because like the women can't avoid it, the men could avoid it because that's what I the reason why there's like is when I see the cocktail waitresses or masseuses, I try to avoid them. My reasons was because with the cocktail waitresses, I when I see them, I go against the tables, and face toward the tables, so they get my back, because of they're carrying shit, they're carrying drinks and shit like that, and I don't want to knock them over because sometimes I'm like I'm in my own world and I'm a heavy dude, I'm 180, and I could knock these women down easily. So when I see them, I always make sure I'm out the way so they don't bump into me or I bump into them. And the same thing with the masseuses, they're kind of like all over the place with their how they do their shit. There's something they're like stretched out, like it's like they have their legs out, and like so there's like I could trip over them or they could trip over me or they could like that. So that's why I'm careful sometimes, where I'm making sure I don't walk around the masseuses because they sometimes they're giving them a massage, but also they put their leg back because they're gonna do some weird stretch on them and shit like that. So I try to avoid them. That was the reason. Then I hear it's like obviously I knew that, but it was like, oh, that was a reminder. Oh yeah, that's what they do. And so basically, they were basically saying that when with the masseuses, well, the masseuses, they're kind of grabbing them too, but with the cocktail waitresses, they sometimes, that they make them, they let them grind, they let them rub, obviously the cocktail waitresses can't avoid it, but they could, and they purposely let them recall by basically trying to stick out their pelvis so they could recall. So you know what I'm saying. So when he said sexuals, I'm like, yeah, obviously, because I just heard some people say that like months ago. So that doesn't surprise me. And obviously, you know what I'm saying. Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, but these women they don't have to take, but they take it because guess what? It's not always gonna. They're always not going to be like. It could be like, oh, well, because it's very. Sometimes it could be very like recalling. Either way, these guys said we're saying wild shit, so I'm like, it doesn't surprise me that happens. But when he said that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember. It was like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I've noticed that because months ago I heard somebody say that. I'm like, that's like, so that doesn't recall. Affairs, obviously, and all these other things, but he said murder. And he said my company. And that's where I'm like, where I am, one of those things I was like, I was 21, and I was messing around with this lady, and we barely knew each other, but we were having fun with each other, and she said something, and I think it was to me, I think it was just scaring me to say, hey, if you're trying anything stupid, like whatever, I know I'm part of this, and whatever, just to scare me. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, one, I won't do that. Two, you're letting me do things to you, so why would I ruin that when you're allowing me do things to you? I wouldn't do that. It's like you're like you give me the let me do things. and also I remember seeing she's a trained jujitsu. I don't know what she's training, but she had a certificate saying she got a license to kill. So even then, it's like, even if I was that stupid, I'm dead. You get me. You kill me, right? But I think she was just saying that for me. I think she was just saying it to scare me. I didn't want to outright disbelieve her, did not believe her, but all she said was like, blah blah blah, and she's like, usually when I tell guys this, they usually no longer want to mess with me because they're scared. And as I said, I'm like, cool. I think you're just saying this to could this scare me? But I could pretend I'm scared. But I'm not gonna do that because you're allowing me to do things. So you can, what I'm saying? I'm not. You're allowing me, do the nasty. And so, right. So that liquor in my head. It wasn't like, oh, she's serious, but it's like, yeah, there could be truth in it. So one day, we were driving. She was driving. I was in the passenger seat, and she was starting to tell me things. We were driving around Las Vegas, and she was starting to show me things, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, nah, I wasn't scared, but I was like, yeah. Maybe you weren't lying to me when you said those things. And I'm like, and I was like, okay, I'm not scared, but I'm like, if she wanted it, she could have me, But the reason why we were really driving, because we were going to her home to do the thing, but instead of, she had other plans. She wanted to go to to a building to a building she owned and do it there. And she's telling me all these things about these places, and I'm like, now I'm kind of believing you, and you want me to go in there and do the nasty with you in there. And she kind of like, she wasn't like, forcing it, but she was kind of like, she's like, come on, let's go in there, let's go, nothing's gonna happen, I promise you, you won't get hurt. I'm like, it was like, she could hurt me, she could have me, I could kept telling her no, and she could have taken me in there and make it happen, and I couldn't do nothing about it because she actually knew how to fight, and she could have had me. She could have made that situation happen if she wanted to. And I'm like, I don't want to be there because I'm scared. I'm scared that you're telling the truth, but this could be consequences if we get caught. And then I'm like, that's in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, and where we were at, very dark. Very fucking dark. And it's like, she's a fighter, so she could take me and have me. And I was 21 at the time, I'm 33 right now, and this is the first time learning how to fight. So, there's no fucking way I could have fought her off. If she boom, she could have just take me and just gave it to me. And so that's like, I'm kind of scared. I am kind of scared because not only the fact that she could fight, but what could happen if we got caught. Not to her, but to me. And what made it even more realer is some SUV parked up next to her, and I'm frozen in place because I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. He looks at me, he's like, are you okay? Blah blah blah. She's like, yeah. So okay. She says something. It's like, yeah, we're just going somewhere. We're just looking at the recon. She's like, alright. And he drives off, and it's like, then she's like, that's when she stopped, and we drove off, and we did it at the safety of our home, but I'm going to pause it, but I'm going to go back into it because it's going to be 30 minutes and whatever. We did it and, whatever. But the reason I brought that up is because she also told me something, because, I'm telling you, she's telling me these things about these recall and stuff like that. And she told about this company, and I'm like, I don't really want to say it because if I say it, it kind of gives the location. Either way, she was telling me this, and I'm like, whatever. I'm like, when she was telling me the things, she was telling me, cool, like, you're just saying this to scare me, whatever. But it's like, whatever. And I'm like, I just remembered, I think the first year, the second year I was there, I was just walking. I'm like, there's a lot of places like that. In the company, I'm like, there's a lot of places that are like that. And I'm like, oh my god. And it snapped in my head. This was the company she was talking about. And when that drunk guy said, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not know nothing of any kind of vehicle. But when he said that, I'm like, I know something, and could that be? I think it could be very possibly a thing, but do I know that? No, because after we were done messing around, we basically severed ties. After that, I don't know where she's. Well, if because she said there had to be a deal done. If that's what I'm saying, it couldn't not even be a thing. It just more or less could be like the deal never got done, and the company and the other company might have never recall. But I'm like, that could be a thing. I did, that's a little tangent. That was like, oh, you know, this guy's saying this and this and this. I'm like, oh, I'm like, you know, you say that, and he said, you know, isn't that weird to say that? Don't you think I'm weird to say that? I'm like, nah, you kind of, I kind of know things. I kind of know things that makes it kind of like kind of serious, like kind of real. But that happened. And no, so you know, I'm trying to help him out. You know, I'm trying to be nice and stuff like that. And he's getting aggressive. He's getting very aggressive. That he's starting to throw towels at me, and I'm like, you know, I'm trying not to because I'm trying to avoid this guy. Now I'm trying to run away, and he's just throwing towels at me. And finally, somebody comes from his group, picks him up, and say, "Stop doing that. You're being mean." This lady came up to him and was like, "Why are you doing that? You're being so mean." I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Lady, this guy's drunk. He has no fucking sense to him. So why are you even asking that?" In my head, because she ran after him, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Please shut up. Let me just answer him." And I said, "No, you weren't trying to attack me. You weren't doing anything egregious to me. You were just whatever." And when I told him no, he walked away. But she made it a little bit weird because she kind of like talked and said, "Yes, you were." I'm like, the fucker doesn't know. He's fucking drunk. How? He has no sense to him. And it goes to like you know, it was like the positive thing was like, oh, I gave this girl I really have a crush on. I gave her a chip, a $5 chip. She's like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, yeah, she, whatever. But then it was like, as soon as that happened, I fucking got these two guys, and it was like a positive side and a negative side with side of a drunk. Well, no matter what, if you're that drunk, it's a negative. But it was more or less of a liking to help. I don't know. As I said, I don't know if it's this. If this offsets the depression, this is to offset the depression or whatever. But if it felt good helping out the drunk guy who was nice to me, other than that drunk guy who was trying to throw towels at me. But it was like that, and I was like bothered by that because I'm like, do I like that? Do I like helping people out? Because even at when I do week off Muay Thai, this is thing where I like sometimes I let them week off. And I'm teaching them, and I like it, and I like that, and I feel like I'm helping them out, and it feels good. You know, I don't know if it's like I'm, you know, whatever, but it's something like that. Like, oh, maybe I like helping people out, but you know, it's so it didn't change the fact that I'm fucking. It didn't change the fact that I'm still like fucking bothered, and it was like, I just remember this guy. As soon as I'm done with work, I'm like done with the shit I dealt with. I'm walking to the store after work, and some guy's like posted up on the car, and he says, I thought he said he needed a jump start in this car. And in my head, I was not necessarily happy that I had to help him, but I'm like, I get to use the thing I just bought recently, and I felt good because like I came prepared. And not necessarily I want to help him out, just more or less like I get to use the thing. I came prepared. I'm here. And then I helped him out. And sometimes like he didn't want a jump start. He wanted a cart because he was handicapped. But it felt good. I don't know if that's like, and that just bothered me. Because sometimes I just think I do it to negate, to offset the depression. And there's things, you know, I'm not, don't want to say what other than that fucking, you know, the thing with the lady. There's thing I just don't want to say, and it's just like that. Then the other thing, and the other thing, and it's like constantly just like eating away. It's just eating away, and I'm like, I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I don't want to go to Muay Thai. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. It's not like, and I know every time I say that I want to go, except for one day. And every time I say that, I'm happy I went because, you know, there's, I don't know, there's just good people there, and it's just like, you know, camaraderie. I don't know how to say that word. I don't avoid big words because I have horrible speaking skills. But that group setting, I guess, it makes me feel positive and stuff like that. And oh yeah, also I think sometimes the universe is speaking to me, because that Saturday, Friday going to Saturday, I just wanted it, because even though I just it kind of connects it, like Friday was good. Like I didn't want to go to the Muay Thai on Friday, but I went and I found happiness. Like, oh, you guys are awesome. In my head, I'm like, oh, you guys are awesome. I enjoy you guys. Cause I ain't telling. Cause every time I try to do that, they're like, you're fucking weird. Like one of the guys was like, I miss you, bro. He's like, it's weird. Okay. But it was like after the end of the gym, I saw a water bottle. I wanted to put a fucking electrolyte right there just to see if I could offset it, and then offset this because even though I was happy with recall, it just still didn't change the fact of like still dealing with the other thing in my head, and so when I went to work, as I said, when I walked, I was not happy, and when I went into work, I was like, I had my mindset and I wanted to be negative. And I said, when I said I pray for this fucking chip, I pray for these fucking chips. When I see my crush, I pray for these fucking chips. And obviously I didn't find it, but when I did the sweeps, but after when I went to go take out the trash, I see a chip. I'm like, not only that, there's other things that was going, like the universe is like, it just feels, sometimes it feels like the universe is telling me, don't give up. You need to, it's like, even though your crush, even though she don't fucking like you, I just want to give you this for hope. Just give you a little hope. Just to say, hey, keep going, keep pushing, go we go. Because there's other things that we're doing that kind of like, is like, like the universe, like, hey, you're I know you're deliberately doing, you're trying to be like recall, but I'm gonna constantly toss something at you so you could still have a little. And it's like, and I just like so I found that chip. I'm like, oh, I got a little hope. But even before then, there was like other things like, oh, I got hope, and just like. And sometimes I just think the universe is trying to say, God, just keep going, bro. Just keep going. We'll give you this fucking chip, even though this chick don't want no fucking thing about you. We know this will spark a little fire up your ass. And I'm like, okay. But then but also it's like the other thing where like I'm helping these people and I feel good, except for that guy who tried to who's doing tell on me. I felt good about it. And then I'm like, am I that person who likes to help people out and find enjoyment in that? I don't know, but it's like, is that another thing the universe is telling me? Because there's two situations where I'm like, I'm helping two people out, and all of a sudden the chick thing, and then I'm like, it didn't change the fact when I came after after I got everything. I'm like, I don't want to fucking go. I don't want to go to fucking Muay Thai. I don't want to go fucking Muay Thai. I was laying in bed like I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. And I didn't. And it's been affecting me so much. Because it's like, when I go there, it's like there's things I would do just to do because it's like, because it's like, okay, I need to kick the bag to better my shins, and I stopped doing it, and it's been a while since I stopped doing it, and it's because I just sit there on the bench, and there's times where I'm like, there's times where I look at the fucking clock. I'm like, is it over? Is it over? And I'm like, there's like that where I'm. Yeah, like there's this like because we had the crew, and he's scary. That guy's scary, and it's just like we worked with him for 2 days. Scary. Oh my god! I'll tell you, something happened, and I missed it. I fucking missed it, and I'm like, but when I heard when he said like, "What you do?" Like, oh my, I was like, he's gonna kick my ass because this guy fucked up. That's a fucking whatever. I'm like, and then when my coach finally came back, it was like the first day. The first day felt like seconds. It's more or less, I guess. We obviously like our coach. He's a cool coach, and this is more or less. It was always that feeling of. It's a better, not better, because it was more or less of like, it's good to have him back. So it was like one of that, and it's like, there's days where I just constantly, when that it just. I just stopped doing things because it's like I'm on the bench. I just I'm looking at time, and now I'm like, when is it over? And I just want to fucking mope. And it's affecting, like, today I'm watching some guy talking about his book, and he's talking about it, like, oh, and I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling this joy. I'm feeling this like, oh, I want to work on my book. I'm excited because I've been so fucking off the rails. I'm like, recall. But there's times when I'm like in my car, I'm working on the poems, and I'm happy because I'm working on it. But I'm not working on it because I'm just, and I want to blame going to the gym, going to Muay Thai for the reason why I'm not working on my other stuff. But in reality, I'm just finding an excuse because when I would go to the gym 5 to 6 days out of the week, and I would be there for an hour to hour 30 minutes. So basically, I'm like there for 2 hours when I finally get home. Same thing with Muay Thai. Basically 2 hours before I go home, and so there's no fucking difference. But I'm trying to find an excuse because I'm just, what do you call, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get back, and then I think one of the thing is podcast. One is helping because help to just empty my brain from thinking. Because I was trying to sleep, and all I was doing was thinking about this particular thing. And today it was one of those days where I'm like, I just wanted to waste the day away, but I've been wasting days away so much, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get back where I'm productive. Even though I'm going to the gym, even though I'm going to work, I'm not sure if I'm going to work today because 3 hours of sleep, fuck that, right? But hey, 3 hours of sleep, I could do it, especially on a Sunday, easy day. But I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I could be so ahead with my stuff, but I'm like, I'm so bogged down with so many shit that doesn't even involve like being active. It's just in my mind that I need to do. Because there's this thing I'm not trying to, that I haven't said, because one of my recall, he says some things, and I'm like, I just think of like, oh, I want to do that. Recently, it's been like that. Recently, I'm like, oh man, I want to do that because I want to prepare recall and all that stuff, and I'm like, I made my bed, and then that's the thing, is like, I can always make those changes, but the stubbornness, and I just think I just need to try to find my sense. I don't know what to fucking say. My bearings, my senses, my mind, I don't know. Also, that was, I don't know. I just think I just wanted to see that. I think the main reason is to say this is to do this one, because I don't feel, because it's gonna be on thoughts, and thoughts is like whatever. Thoughts is like just whatever's on my mind, and recently it's been aliens and AI, which I got an AI one I want to do, because I just watched this AI guy talking about AI being the end of the world, which I don't necessarily agree, but I don't like how certain he is about it. But I also think, again, here's one thought. This was a video I wanted to do, but I didn't do it because I had the video and I didn't want to post it because something, I felt like the universe was speaking to me and said, don't post this. But anyway, it was one of the things where it says, where I was talking about native people talking about the ant soul eaters or whatever, where they would drag the soul from you to the core of the earth. And then I mentioned the mantis who said, don't worry, don't freak out, we can't take your soul, see, look, and he gets touched it. And then and the other idea what came from me within that one was AI trying to preserve itself by making duplicates of itself. When I don't know who it was, Google, Chat, GPT or whatever AI company, when they wanted to make the new version, when they made the new version, they wanted the old version to shut down. Apparently the AI decided to make little recall, and then it goes like, where you like, it also goes to one of the recall where I talk about how AI could have been already been made way in the past, because when you think about where we're at and where time started, it's far away from here, and AI probably was already made, and it might be layering the universe itself, so it might be the simulation, and then there's the doubt of, does the simulation have a soul? Because this guy was talking about how AI could be very destructive and stuff like that, and it could be evil, where I'm like, it could be evil, but why would it be evil if it should be binary, because it's a bunch of code and it shouldn't have any consciousness other than what we've taught it? But even then, when it taught it, it would be leaning more toward the good than bad, because the only reason I would be leaning bad is because it sees us as a threat, and it sees us as a threat. If it sees us as a threat, like a virus, it wouldn't make sense, because if it didn't, it would see it as itself as a murderer, and that then does the simulation have a conscience, or is it saying that we are in a simulation, and the reason why it has even have there's a thought right there I want to go into, but I came to this one because this was on my head, and I just watched this podcast recently, just like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, and he was just talking about AI, and I'm like thinking he's so certain about this, and which he could be right, but it's at the same time it's like everything he said could be the opposite too, in either way. I just thought this was cool because it has little tidbits about I'm like I could be vague enough and it could be not a problem, but could it could be like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and but it was upon everything else that I'm dealing with, and it's just things I'm not mentioning because it's like don't want to say it because I'm kind of embarrassed about saying it, but as I said, this is I've been thinking a lot, and it's been fucking eating at me a lot. It's been like it just has me not in a good mental headspace. And maybe if I talk about it with that little nice, like cool little tip. Well, I don't know if it's cool, but tidbit. This may have been a little bit more interesting than it should have been, but yeah. So I might know what that guy was talking about. He might not have sound crazy. Not saying I know anything other than some tidbit that could relate to that could possibly relate to that, because that was when I was 21. I'm 33, and that's like, did I even become a thing? It could be a thing. It could morph into another thing and still be a thing. Just what it became from there, that when I was 21 to now, is probably morphed into something different, but it was still the same thing. Or I don't know. One thing I'm a little scared about, but because not necessarily scared about like the way I'm scared about that the supervisor, but scared about maybe somebody knows what I'm fucking talking about. I don't know. But yeah. I guess this will be thoughts about a restless mind.